Let's take a look. One of the things you do is film breakdown. We love when you do that. We're going to take a look. You did this, brownsfilmbreakdown.com, Travis Hunter. So we'll take a look at a little bit of this and get your thoughts on Travis Hunter. What do you see when you look at him?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's a wide receiver. I talked about it on the pod yesterday, a wide receiver who can play some corner. I mean, like, he's the best at two positions in this draft, and I think, again, it's as simple as, like, figuring out the fit for him on both sides. I think the Browns are open to it. Travis has mentioned it as recently as 2 days ago about, like, he wants to play both ways. So it's really just a matter of figuring out how it works for the offense and defense. I think he's an offense predominantly first player. I think that's where he can make the most difference. And then I think if you keep things simple on the defensive side for him and let him play a specific role, he's going to have a defined difference in impact to be made on the defensive side of the football too. So unique athlete, a unicorn of sorts here who can play both ways, proved it at the major college level. And I think there's still, in my opinion, a lot of room for improvement. A guy who's not capped when he gets in the league, I think, can make a difference right away, because I think the body control, hands, ball tracking ability, all of that is very unique in an early part of his career. And then when you layer in kind of getting more and more adept at the nuances of the position, I think that's where you see him get even better at just wide receiver, let alone putting him out there and playing defense in a way. And I think the Browns, way of structuring their defense, it is going to yield an opportunity for him to play more reactionary football over there, not be caught thinking too much, and just play his coverage skills that I think mesh really well with what Jim Schwartz likes to do. So I think the appeal is immense for Cleveland, and I think it's a great fit with an organization that seems open to letting him play both ways in a way that maybe others would not. So I couldn't be more excited about that fit.
When you look at him, what's the upside? Does he have the ability to be top 10, top 5, top whatever wide receiver? And is he a guy, if you get the ball in his hands, he can make things happen?
Yeah, of course. He plays the game at a different speed, I think, at times, and he's got that stop-start twitch ability stuff that makes him so unique and dangerous after the catch. So to the root of your question, I think the ceiling is a top 5 wide receiver. Certainly, I think he can get there. I think he's got all the tools necessary. It's refining the craft, getting better at that position. I think he can. I think he will, from everything you hear about him. A very smart guy, goal-oriented, focused, loves football, all the stuff you want to hear. So I think that there's a reasonable expectation as a top 10 wide receiver and a top 15 corner. And then it's, to me, like, I think the ceiling for the kid at 22 years old right now, by the time he's 26, 27, is like he is a top 5 wide receiver who can play some defense for you too as he gets older in the league. So I think you're probably going to see him doing more early because he's young and the legs are fresh and all of that. But as he ages and I think he gets better, I saw a Chad Johnson comparison, which I thought was really interesting. Obviously, Chad had a lot of really good years in Cincinnati. I think there's a lot of similarities there in terms of just the sheer size and sort of the way aesthetically they move. I think Chad's a more refined route runner in his time in the NFL. That doesn't mean Travis can't get there, but that's something Chad had over him kind of at this point. But Travis is a much more explosive athlete, much more explosive, just like the nuance of, the short shuttle, the quick explosion drills, those in vertical jump, broad jump, all those things that sort of tell you how explosive you are. I think that's where he is more gifted. So he's got a lot as a baseline more to work with there to be better. So if you look at kind of what Chad was able to do in the league, and if you can get that as a wide receiver, maybe even uptick it a little bit along with a guy who can help impact your defense, it's just something you don't find. You haven't found that in the NFL before. So I think that's the biggest reason I'm interested. I think baseline wise, he's going to be a great receiver. Could be one of the league's best receivers. But then you get into that territory of Shohei Ohtani hit 50 home runs and stole 50 bases, but he could also maybe go out and win you 15 games as a starting pitcher. That's where it's like, oh, this is unicorn type stuff. So let's just get in that business and see if it's there, because the fallback is he's great at just one position, and ultimately that's worth a really high draft pick. So if you do get both, that's pretty fun too.